What is going on, everyone? Today I'm going to be reviewing James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Not to be confused with the 2016 movie also called Suicide Squad. I know it's a little confusing, and in fact, there's going to be a lot of direct comparisons and parallels between the movies because it's essentially the same premise, just completely different execution. In fact, it even has some of the same characters and the same actors playing the same characters as the original movie from 2016. So let's talk about it. First of all, The Suicide Squad came out in 2021. It was meant to be a rated R outing for DC that was supposed to be very different from the previous movies that the DC universe had put out there. And did it work? Well, it did okay. It certainly was no box office smash, but at the same time, it wasn't a horrible flop. It kind of landed somewhere in the middle, certainly not what they were hoping for when they were trying to reboot the whole Suicide Squad franchise and make people forget about the 2016 essential bomb. Now, the thing is, I've talked about this before, and I'll say it again in this review. I don't know what this weird obsession is recently with the Suicide Squad. Yes, there was a comic book of the Suicide Squad that was kind of an interesting premise. It's a bunch of villains that are given a second chance. They're released from captivity in order to do mercenary work for the good guys, the U.S. government. If they do a good job, perhaps they'll get a reduction of their sentence. If they do a bad job, well, they have a microchip implanted in their necks that controls a microscopic bomb that will blow up and kill them. So they better do the right thing. If they don't, or they go off of, their orders, they'll be murdered. But if they do the right thing, hey, maybe it'll benefit them. So it's kind of a unique and interesting premise. But even the comics, to my knowledge, weren't like ginormous smash hits. So why they decided all of a sudden to do a movie of this in 2016, and then when that one didn't go so well, they decided to make another one in 2021 is just kind of really confusing to me. I saw the 2016 film. That film was a mess. That film was all over the place. It didn't make a lot of sense. A lot of the characters were kind of poorly acted and or weirdly designed. The best character in the movie, in my opinion, was Will Smith's Deadshot, who I felt was actually quite well acted and held the movie together. But outside of that, a lot of the characters didn't even make sense. Margot Robbie playing Harley Quinn and didn't really act that much like Harley Quinn at all from the comics or even the cartoons. Just a confusing mess. And you can tell watching that movie, tons of the movie was cut out. It was a disjointed mess. And even the person who was the director came out and said years later, yeah, this movie is not my movie. I made a movie and they cut it up and they ruined it. And I admit that this movie is terrible and sorry. Kind of weird when the director publicly apologizes for how bad the movie turned out. So, when this movie was going to be the second attempt at a Suicide Squad film, and we all heard that James Gunn had creative control and everything, people were very excited. This is the first rated R film in this DC universe. Besides Joker, of course, Joker was not in the continuous DC EU. This one supposedly is supposed to be. So, let's talk. The movie itself is exactly the same premise of the other Suicide Squad movie. It's villains, they're being released from prison, they're going to go out there and do some kind of a mercenary mission. The movie starts off, interestingly enough, with a ragtag team of villains invading an island, and the island seems to be full of a bunch of guerrilla military, or maybe even someone who had conquered the island and wasn't supposed to be in charge. It's not clear from the get-go. But the villains are working together, and it's interesting because some of the villains are returns from the original Suicide Squad movie, including Captain Boomerang and Harley Quinn. Maybe you wonder, could this kind of be a pseudo-sequel or not? It's not clear. But it becomes clear in the first few moments that this is not going to be the same as the first movie. So, spoiler alert, if you didn't see the movie yet, I'm going to be talking a lot about the differences between the two movies. One of the major things is that major characters start dying right off from the get-go, and the movie is very gory. I mean, over the top gory. Within the first few minutes, as the villains are invading the island, Captain Boomerang, who's the return actor from the original movie, throws a boomerang and he's cutting guys' heads off and they're popping out and brains are exploding. They're shooting each other with guns and then people's bodies are ripping apart. It's kind of disorienting because we've seen a bunch of DC movies up to this point and it's never been to that extreme. Now, there's definitely humor. Some of the characters say funny things. They're acting humorously. One of them kind of becomes a coward and turns tail, which then makes him have his head blown off because of the explosive in his neck. If you abandon mission, you're going to get killed. Interestingly enough, the one that's controlling the Suicide Squad is Amanda Waller, the same government agent who back in the Suicide Squad movie from 2016 also was in charge of the squad. So again, weird. Is this a sequel? Is it not a sequel when it has returning characters played by the same actors? It's a little confusing. Anyway, within the first few minutes of the movie, you realize it's a bait and switch because this first group that were attacking the island were the decoy. They're all the throwaways who they knew had no chance of actually winning. They were just there to die off and become a decoy. While on the other side of the island is the actual real invading team, including Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba, as well as Peacemaker, played by John Cena, Ratcatcher 2, who I guess is the daughter of a previous supervillain and she can control rats, a human-shark hybrid creature that I don't even remember what its name was because it was some weird thing like Namamaste or something like that. Polka Dot Man, a guy who apparently was put through dimensions as a kid and caught a virus, an interdimensional virus that now he controls by using these polka dots to blow things up and eat away matter. It's really weird, but there's all humorous touches. For example, Idris Elba and Peacemaker are essentially the same exact person. Like, they have the same character. Oh, anything you put into their hands is a deadly weapon because they were trained by their parents and now they're merciless killers. It's like, but they're the same exact person. So it's kind of funny. That's the running joke, is that they have the kind of the same abilities or whatever. And although Peacemaker has weird ambitions, like anything for peace. Like, I'll kill everyone here for peace. Wait, you're going to mercilessly murder everyone here to create peace. So, did you really create peace, or did you just kill everyone in order to get them to stop having a ruckus? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of contradictory. How are you creating peace through violence? Idris Elba essentially just wants to help his daughter. His daughter, who is introduced early in the movie, is his motivation because basically she gets into some legal troubles with, I think it was like theft, and Amanda Waller threatens Idris Elba, says, listen, if you don't do this mission, even though I don't even want to do it, we'll come down on your daughter instead, slap her in jail as like an adult, even though she's not. So basically, out of everyone here, he's really not in this to reduce his sentence. He's doing it because his daughter's been threatened. But everyone else here is essentially here for their own, their own doing, or trying to benefit themselves. So as the movie progresses, various different things happen. The one person who's not a criminal, Captain Flag, he's a government agent, gets captured. The heroes who are remaining alive try to infiltrate and save him, kill all the people who have kidnapped him, only to find out he wasn't kidnapped. He was rescued by the rebels of the island who are trying to overthrow the evil regime that you're there to stop. Well, who the Suicide Squad are there to stop. And they killed all the good guys. Oops. And this is the kind of weird humor this movie has, where it's kind of like adult-themed humor. Oops, we're all so stupid, we killed a bunch of people who were actually going to be on our side because we're so dumb we didn't check. That's kind of the humor of the movie in a lot of ways. There's some other scenes that are really weird. For example, Harley Quinn gets separated from the group, and then the dictator who's in charge of the island has this weird romantic interlude with her. And then at the end of the romantic interlude, she just murders him. Just because she's like, oh, I don't like you. Sounds like you're a bad guy who's going to be hurting kids or something. So that throws the whole island into disarray. Ultimately, what are the Suicide Squad really there to do? Well, apparently there is some kind of a weird experimentation happening on the island with some kind of a creature, assuming some kind of a space alien, that was captured and experimented on for years and years. And now that this regime has taken over the island, they're afraid that the regime is going to use this bioweapon alien as something to, give them power in the world. And they're afraid that it could be used as a terrorist, a terrorist weapon. Come to find out over the course of the movie, of course, when movies like this go down, oh, actually, the alien isn't the terrorist weapon at all. It's actually owned by the Americans. But because the island was overthrown, the people who used to be keeping it a secret from the world now can't keep it a secret anymore. So it's kind of like, oops, we were using this unsafe weapon. We were the terrorists, essentially. But now we got to clean up our own mess by having the Suicide Squad come in and try to destroy this alien so no one knows it ever existed because we were doing this illicit stuff behind the scenes. So it's kind of that kind of interesting plot. The plot goes different ways. First, like I said, first they're trying to save Captain Flag. Then they're trying to save Harley Quinn. Then eventually they do finally make a big attack on the alien base, and then there's a big action-packed finale where they have to fight a ginormous kaiju, yes, Godzilla-sized alien. I won't spoil anything else besides that. I won't even tell you how it ends, but what I will tell you is that the movie is fun in parts, but very bizarre in others, okay? First of all, I'm going to say this again, they don't know how to get Harley Quinn right in these movies. Okay, Harley Quinn is closer to the comic books and the cartoon in these movies, but still not dead on. Does she have her New York accent this time? Yes, she does. That's good. But they made her into some kind of a super killer assassin who is like super powered. At one point, to give you some perspective, she's Matrix dodging bullets, picks up 2 assault rifles, charges down a hallway, shooting dozens of military. Yeah, just like in the cartoon and comics, right? Like, why do these directors and or writers keep trying to make her the ultimate female badass? That's not the character. The character is she's supposed to be the second fiddle to the clown prince of crime. Yes, is she a criminal mastermind that works with the Joker? Yes, she is. Is she a killer? Well, I believe possibly she did kill in some situations over the course of the Batman comics. But was she ever a hyper crazy powerful assassin able to do crazy? I mean, she's like Mila Jovovich in the Resident Evil movies in this movie. What the frick? That's not Harley Quinn. That's not even close to being the character of Harley Quinn. They got it wrong. Another thing, there's scenes where she's like wearing a dress and her whole body is white skinned. It's makeup, stupid. Did you not ever read a comic of Harley Quinn? Did you not see the Batman animated series? She's a normal person in makeup. Her whole body isn't fucking pale white. She didn't fall into a vat of acid like the Joker. Why is she this color? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, you did zero research for this character. All you did, you nailed the accent. That was it. Everything else about the character makes no sense. And there's blatant scenes where at the end of the movie, she's fighting aliens and she's like, she's a fucking criminal. She's just supposed to be a normal criminal. Why is she a super assassin? It makes no sense at all. Okay? Now, outside of that, there are some funny scenes. There's some good action scenes. There's a few good laughs in the movie. And there's some you know, I would say it's pretty much a good popcorn movie and a good laugh. However, I will say this. The gore at first is kind of interesting because you're like, wow, we've never seen this gore before. For me, I honestly feel the gore was too much. Like, for example, there's scenes where the shark guy is just blatantly eating people. And there's body parts flying everywhere and gore squirting. It's kind of disgusting. You know, there's a scene at the beginning of the movie where one of the people gets their head chopped off or whatever. And there's a scene of a bird picking the brains out of their opened head. Why was that funny or needed? I don't get it. Like, I guess they're trying to gross out humor, but I didn't really think it was funny, nor did I find it entertaining. I just found it kind of weird and disturbing. Like, there's a time for gore in a rated R movie, and it just seemed like this movie was amped. They just wanted to throw it at you constantly to have it in there and say, look, we're different from the other DC movies. But if it doesn't serve a purpose, and it doesn't seem like it serves a purpose in this one, it's just gratuitous gore for the sake of having the gore. Also, I'll be honest, I think a lot of people thought the movie was funny. I thought some parts were funny, and some of the writing, the humor was funny, and other of it was really stupid, like talking about Peacemaker wanting to suck a bunch of dicks on the beach. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? It's like 5-year-old humor. And then another weird thing, again, like I said, some of these characters aren't well characterized. Peacemaker, who I guess was supposed to be a standout character, played by John Cena, I don't get him. I just don't understand the character. They don't really give him they don't give him any character development, actually. He just kind of is the guy who wants peace and will get it by any means necessary. And he has big guns and he makes jokes about the guns and he tries to outshoot Bloodsport, and Bloodsport is a competition with him. Like I said, they're kind of the same character, so they're kind of doing the same stuff, and it just doesn't really stand out to me. The weirdest part about this, okay, is that after this movie, they made a whole series with Peacemaker. I don't know why. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, and actually it's my intention to go watch it now. But of all the characters in the movie, I felt Bloodsport, Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher 2 were the 3 best, most interesting characters. And just so you know, one of them doesn't survive the movie, so there's nothing with that character moving forward. And I'm pretty sure, you know, they're not going to do anything with Idris Elba. He's too high profile of an actor. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just don't get it. It seems like they had these weird aspirations for the movie. We have to make it the goriest R-rated. We have to have humor in it so it's better than the other DC movies. So it almost is like the DC version of Guardians of the Galaxy, which is, of course, what James Gunn is known for, but also with gore to make it stand out. But then we want to have characters that are different, and we want to have spin-off series. It's like, wait, you're doing way too much with this movie. And I do feel that way. Like, the movie tried to do way too much. It had this weird thing, this running theme, where on the screen there'd be titles of, like, the name of the act that you were going into. But it wouldn't be like Act 1, this, Act 2, this. It would just be like, now on the beach. And it would say it in words on the screen that would be like crabs on the beach, and then the crabs would walk away. And you're like, huh? Like, what was that? It wasn't funny. It's just weird and out of place. And weird title cards like that happen naturally in the scenery over the course of the movie. Like, why? That's what I mean. Like, the movie seems like it doesn't really have much of an identity because it's trying so hard to be different things and stand alone from what the other DC movies have been that it doesn't really succeed at any of them. And then, like I said, ultimately at the end of the movie, they want you to care about Peacemaker because there's going to be a spin-off series about him. And I didn't really care about this character at all. I actually thought out of all the characters, he was the least developed and least interesting. I think they tried hard to make him funny, but I don't think they really even succeeded in that. So, honestly, it's okay. The Suicide Squad, by the way, is better than the first Suicide Squad movie. I should just outright say that. In the first Suicide Squad movie, the only good actor in that whole fucking thing was Will Smith. In this one, everyone's pretty good at who they are and their acting ability. I will definitely say that, and the script is much better in this one. But still, is it a comedy? Well, not really. Is it a gory, serious, R-rated film? No, not really. Is it a drama? Not really. Does it characterize the characters well to their DC counterparts? Not really. Is it trying to do its own original thing? Maybe, but not really, because by the end, you don't really understand where it's going. So, it's very confusing. It just feels like a big disjointed movie, and I'm not surprised that when this movie came out in 2021, it didn't do that well. It did okay, but it didn't reach the expectations that they had for it, and it's probably because it didn't really resonate. I mean, what is this movie? I don't even know. I saw the whole movie. It ended. I was like, that's the end? Like, that's how it's going to end. And then there's a cliffhanger ending where they're like, oh, look, Peacemaker series is coming. And I'm like, I don't really care, but I'm intrigued because I'll tell you right now, as a result of watching this movie, I want to at least watch some, if not all, of Peacemaker to see what they did with that, because I am so perplexed at what they did with this movie. I can't fathom how they made a whole series with that character. And again, Harley Quinn, once again, laughably bad, not exactly what the character is at all in the cartoon or the comics. They again don't know what the character is. They made her a super assassin, again, like Alice in the Resident Evil movies. What were they thinking? So, it's not terrible. It's better than the 2016 Suicide Squad, but it's just not that good. It's okay. It's another okay popcorn flick. It's nothing to write home about, and it didn't blow me away. I was actually going into it hoping for a lot more. I mean, it's by James Gunn, the maker of Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is one of my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. This was not even near as good as that movie, and that's sad. That's my review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, if you like this review, I will be watching Peacemaker coming up and reviewing episodes of that, probably in 2 to 3 episode clumps. So expect maybe, 3, maybe 4 videos reviewing Peacemaker coming up in the future. But thank you for watching the review of The Suicide Squad. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you later. Peace out.